Hey, Morningstar, Pastor Mike here. As I hope you know by now, we're about halfway into our Plus Side campaign, which is designed to eliminate between a third and a half of our $6.1 million indebtedness that we still have on our property and campus at Darden. We've set three benchmarks: $1.5 million, $1.9 million, and $2.3 million. Combine those with the $550,000 we'll continue to pay toward our principal out of our normal operating budget over the next 3 years. And that means we're going to actually reduce our total debt by between $2 and $3 million. That sounds like a pretty big challenge, right? But that's not the real challenge, at least not the biggest one. The biggest challenges aren't attached to our wallet, they're attached to our heart. You see, there are two big challenges all of us face when it comes to these kind of campaigns. Believe me, I know. This is the sixth capital campaign I've led and participated in since starting Morningstar Church nearly 20 years ago. I've not only heard the questions, the struggles, the complaints registered by folks in the congregation, but believe it or not, I've actually had to wrestle with the same issues myself. So the first challenge to fight against is our natural first response: I can't. Let's face it, there's always going to be reasons we can cite for why we can't. The first capital campaign we did at Morningstar, Dee Dee and I had just moved into our first house and just had Samuel. The second campaign, our eldest son Jay was going to college. The third campaign, he was going off to dental school. There was always something. And I'm sure you have things going on in your life right now that you could easily point to and say, I'd love to, but I just can't right now. Yet here's what I've discovered. If I'm willing to go to God and ask Him to show me how I can participate, He always shows up. He always shows me a way. Maybe it's something I can give up or do without for the next 3 years. A family meal out once a month. That extra house payment that I'm going to make on the house every year. Maybe it's something I can put off, like the purchase of a new car or new furniture or remodeling the kitchen. There have also been times He showed me that I can rearrange some things. When I paid off a car loan or student loan, I could direct that money toward the campaign. So let me challenge you. Don't simply check out because you think there's no way you can, because most of us can do something. And whatever that something is, it's going to help us reach our benchmarks. Now listen, before I go on, let me say this. I realize there are some who are in extreme situations right now and just honestly can't. Maybe it's a job loss or a health crisis that's put you in a financial bind right now, and hey, we get it. That's understandable. No one's trying to put guilt on anyone to participate here. So moving on, the second challenge. The second challenge is to not involve God in your, conversation. You see, if Plus Side is just a financial decision for you, if you get out your budget, figure out what you can afford and make a commitment, whatever the amount, and you do that without making this a spiritual issue and a matter of prayer, then all of us are going to lose out. You see, even if you make some large financial commitment, but you haven't spent time with God asking what He really wants you to do, there's a big possibility you could eventually develop a grudge. You could get bad feelings. You could feel pressured because you think I or the church expect you to participate at a certain level. And listen, that couldn't be further from the truth. What I want most of all is for each of you to pray our campaign prayer. The most important thing we've been asking in all of this: Lord, what do you want to do through me? Because here's what I know. God isn't going to ask you to do something impossible for you to accomplish. Will it challenge and stretch you? Will it require God to show up? Absolutely. But listen, if God is the one directing your path, whether this campaign or job decision or relationship, whatever, if God's directing your path, then it's going to be something you can and will be able to do. Second, whatever God asks you to sacrifice in this campaign or whatever season of life, that sacrifice won't even compare to how He's going to show up and bless you. I've experienced this so many times in my life. I hope you've had this experience as well. If not, perhaps this is the time God will show up and remind you that you can never outgive Him. And whatever sacrifice you make for God will be returned to you in ways bigger and better than you can ever imagine. So can I please encourage you not to miss out on this window of opportunity for all of us and each of us at Morningstar. Spend some real time with God. Ask Him to show you how you can participate. Ask Him what that looks like. Lord, what do you want to do through me? Then take a step of faith. Trust that God is going to keep His commitment to you and be part of the victory, which will take all of us to so much more than just less debt. It will take us to a place of being able to accomplish His vision, that we would be a well where people are being refreshed, restored, and resourced to enrich their relationships with God, self, and others, and to intentionally reach one more for Jesus. Hey, I can't wait to see what God's going to do in and through all of us as we go to the plus side. See you in worship.